Okay, so I have been getting a ton of requests to do a Whiplash only video. I don't really know why, because it's like the most inconceivably boring thing ever. But you know what? I caved. Here you go. If you're wondering why I'm cutting through the boss fight, it's because this took 4.5 minutes. And it's only Cerberus. Surprisingly enough, something interesting actually did happen during this boss fight. I don't really know how I did this, but I managed to confuse their AI to just continue dashing into each other in this one spot while I very, very slowly destroyed them. Holy shit, this is going to be a long video. V2 somehow took almost twice as long as Cerberus, despite the fact that V2 has 40 health. If you didn't know, the Whiplash, when you grab onto something, does 0.2 damage, which means that I need to hit V2 200 times to kill him. Now you may think, oh well, it's only V2, it can't be that hard. But you've forgotten the fact that V2 is the fastest and the smallest boss in the game, which means it is really difficult to grab onto this annoying motherfucker. Towards the very end of the fight, I started getting super greedy and almost died and had to restart the entire thing. But luckily I managed to get V2 to bomb himself, which ended the fight early, which was just a great success. And now we come to Minos, where if you think I'm fighting the hand, you are sorely mistaken. Minos is a giant target that stands completely still, making him very easy to kill, well, at least until we reach a second phase. After what feels like an entire eon, we finally reach Minos' second phase, where the fight actually gets pretty challenging, because now he's going to start throwing homing projectiles at me at the speed of light. After about 16 more years, we finally kill Minos. Gabriel's first phase is actually a lot easier than Minos' second phase, and there really isn't anything interesting to talk about until we get to the phase transition. When Gabriel changes phases, he stops flying during his animation, so if you deal the damage to make him change phase while he's flying over the pit, I can cheat and do a massive chunk of his health by dropping him into the pit. Gabriel's second phase is a lot harder than the first phase, not only because, well, he's faster, but also because the ring of swords that surrounds him means I can't actually go in for hits very often. So this fight becomes more of a test of endurance than anything else. I was starting to get really low at the very end of the fight, and I was worried that I'd have to restart the entire thing again, but then Gabriel killed himself. I guess he felt bad.
What? How can this be?
You're probably expecting me now to complain about how V2 rematch was actually really difficult and took a ton of time, and I was expecting to be complaining about that as well. But actually this fight was surprisingly easy. V2's AI was honestly even stupider than the first fight, and I really didn't have any trouble at all. I mean, this is exactly what I mean. He's basically just moving around in circles, letting me kill him. V2's second phase was actually mind-numbingly boring. He really only used his shotgun shot and then like occasionally fired a core reject at me. Something about whiplashing him over and over again broke his AI and just meant that his nail gun and his piercer just didn't work. Don't really know what explains that, but I'll take it. Leviathan, to be honest, just isn't interesting at all. Like, it was so boring, so I'm just gonna completely skip over it. If you're unhappy about that, lol, lamau. The Gabriel rematch is a really surprising fight, to be honest, because I expected it to be incredibly difficult, just like the first fight. However, it's actually a lot easier than the first fight, because Gabriel is really prone to hitting himself with his exploding swords and making the fight go so much faster than the first one. The fight boils down to essentially just sliding in a direction of your choice, waiting for Gabriel to taunt and then whiplashing him as he taunts you, and hoping that he hits himself with his own swords. That is the entirety of Phase 1. And now I'm going to sit here and eat my words, because the second phase of this fight lives up to all of the expectations I had coming into it. I mean, once that man hits the floor and his sword starts spinning, all of my hopes and dreams, they're gone, they are destroyed. Oh my god, this was not fun.
Now this is a fight worthy of God's will!
With how the swords work, I can only go in to hit him with the whiplash every other time he taunts, which basically halves my already non-existent DPS. And also, to make things even worse, his erratic teleporting makes it incredibly difficult for me to have him hit himself with his own swords, which means that this second phase just drags on and on and on. And if I die, I need to restart the entire fight from scratch.
Show me what you were made for. What is this feeling? Come on, machine! Fight me like an animal!
I'm not going to sit here and act like that was first try, because it wasn't. That was really hard. Now, rather anticlimactically, that's where this run ends. 7-4 is completely impossible to beat with just the Whiplash. And it's not just because you literally can't do enough damage to beat the final room in the time limit. It's because the security system literally doesn't take any damage from the Whiplash. And also the brain doesn't take any damage from the Whiplash. There is nothing I can do. There's no gimmick, there's no trick. That's just the sad reality. And with that being said, thanks for watching.